Hello everybody and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again today. And some of you might have noticed that I actually haven't uploaded anything for the past 10, maybe 11 days now. Don't worry, I'm not dead or anything. Very much still alive, but I thought it was probably a good time to take a breather, take a break. And part of it really came from the fact that I'm about to, probably in another few weeks, I am going to be moving out of my apartment and moving into something smaller, a basement apartment somewhere. And, last year when I moved out and it was like, got a place with my girlfriend and everything, it was like, yeah, we're going to be able to, have our own space and our own time together, maybe watch some movies and all that. And, in a blink of an eye, here we are over a year later and didn't really get to spend that much time with her. Um, I spent a lot of time on YouTube. I spent a lot of time, on things that involve like content creation or just, like I mentioned before, the other jobs that I have to work in order to keep us afloat. And, she's going off to school for another like 8 months somewhere else. And I'm like, wow, I didn't really do anything with you at all. We haven't really spent much time together. So, yeah, just, that kind of hit me not too long ago when we told our landlord that we were going to move. And I decided to do something about it. I was like, I actually want to spend some time with you and do some stuff together before you're gone and I don't see you again for like 8 whole months. So decided to take a break and put the whole YouTube thing down just for a little while, so I could get some private time and get some personal time, I guess, with her. And it's been good. We've been able to do some stuff that we haven't really done in the last little while. And by the way, for those of you who've actually played the Dunkirk mission, that little boat, I just don't get it. Like every single time I play this mission, like that little boat just goes into that mine field and gets blown up. And anyways, okay. So yeah, and so I've taken a break and it's good. It's a good rest. A little bit of a way to get mentally refreshed. And I'll be back not too long from now. I mean, probably you'll see some stuff getting uploaded, but maybe not at the same kind of pace as before. But don't worry, that pace will pick up again not too long from now. I'm guessing probably like another week or so. Anyways, speaking of Dunkirk, how many of you have actually watched the Dunkirk movie? Because, wow. And, I mean, especially if you watch that movie in IMAX. I mean, I watched that movie, and I gotta say, I was impressed. Not so much as, in terms of, like, the whole, like, story, conversation, dialogue thing that, you get in other movies, but simply from the atmosphere. That's not even a really good word, but, like, just the things that were happening. I mean, especially when, like, the Stukas were coming in, for example, bombing the soldiers on the beach, and you heard that Stuka siren as it was coming down. Oh, I mean, I heard that in the movie. It felt so real, so terrifying. It was just like, please, I just, if I was there, I'd be freaked out. And it kind of explains why soldiers were actually terrified by that particular siren. Absolutely terrifying. Other things about that Dunkirk movie that I really was particularly impressed with was actually the opening scene. And again, maybe this is just the IMAX thing, but when that guy was walking down the street and suddenly all the machine guns opened up, oh man, that caused me to jump because it literally felt like somebody was shooting from right behind me. Absolutely terrifying is the real word, I guess, to describe that experience, because it just felt so real. Like I'd be terrified if I was the guy there. So, I hope you guys actually had a chance to go watch the Dunkirk movie, because it was, a very good movie, but ideally watch it in IMAX. Aside from that, what else has been going on lately? I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, and maybe that's another thing as well. Why I need to take a breather and just take a break is because I want games to be fun again. To play games for what they are, which is something to enjoy myself and to play and to have fun. And for a while there, games became almost like any game I played was like, I wonder if I can make a video for this, that kind of thought. And it stopped being as fun. And I really just had to go and take a step back and go back to enjoying games for what they are. And like I said, played quite a bit of Rainbow Six Siege. Have gotten much better at that game, and it's a lot more comfortable for me to play now than when I first started. Now, for those of you who are still curious about whether or not you should get the game and play it, let's just put it this way: it has got an astronomical learning curve. Even right now, I mean, I'm like level 90 something already, but even now, I'm still at times getting my butt handed to me, absolutely handed to me by people who are just better, who know the maps better and things like that. And it's a constant learning experience. You pretty much never know enough in that game. There's definitely not the same feeling that you get in Warships, where you get to a certain point, you're like, yep, there's not much left to know about this game. All the mechanics have been explained and everything. But with Rainbow Six Siege, it's like, yep, this game is really hard. And you kind of get used to that, feeling, I guess, of getting your butt kicked constantly. But then again, then you start to learn stuff, and then you meet people who are less experienced than you, and then you get to kick their butts. So kind of a interesting little thing there. But all in all, I do have to say I like the game. It's challenging, it's difficult, and it's a lot of fun. Now, some of you might have just listened to that part and go, wait a minute, are you going to become a Rainbow Six Siege YouTuber? No, not happening. I don't think I'm that good yet to be able to be a Rainbow Six Siege YouTuber. So don't worry, you are still going to get your share of World of Warship stuff. And like I said, when I rest up a little bit more and, just kind of, again, just have some me time a little bit, and just to be able to mentally recover, I'll be back, and things will probably pick up again and content will be coming out again. Plus, honest to God, I do need a break from Warships. I've been at it for 2 years now, maybe more than that, for Warships, like continuously pretty much. And I'll be honest, I've reached a state in the game where it's just like, gee, what else is there? What else is new? What else is exciting? What else is stuff that's going to get me to really continue doing this? And unfortunately, you guys have heard some of my complaints about Warships, and it's unfortunate, World of Warships, I think, had the potential to be like a genre-defining game, something that, all future Second World War or First World War naval combat games will be judged against. And yeah, unfortunately, as of right now, I just don't see that happening. The game is, or it has become, rather stale. Maybe that's not even the best word to use, but hey, it's like almost 4 in the morning and my brain doesn't really want to process more complex vocabulary right now. It's trying to pick out the easiest word so I can actually continue to get my thoughts out. But yeah, the game itself is just, it's too repetitive now. Everything kind of plays the same. Nothing's really all that different. And just not all that exciting. I mean, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, and there's a game that's, hey, you're playing the same maps kind of, thing, but every time it's a little bit different. Every time something is a little bit different, and you've got to learn, and you continuously learn. The game keeps you learning, and a lot of I think the very, very successful games, honestly, are like that. You never feel like you ever get to the end of learning something. There's always something new to do. And I don't really think Warships does that. I mean, this is a game where it's like once you've learned how to play this, you've pretty much learned how to play that, this of the ship of the same class. It's like, and that's that. It's like you learn how to play Battleship. Sure, there's some small differences here and there, but most battleships, well, they kind of play the same. Most cruisers kind of play the same. Most destroyers kind of play the same. Aircraft carriers, well, aside from differences in planes, they pretty much play the same. And it's not like, hey, like this class of ship will bring about something very different. There's a new challenge there. There's something new to learn. And it just makes things too simple. And I think that's the curse for... Yeah, I think that's kind of a curse, because if you look at, Royal Navy battleships, for example, that implementation, it's a struggle for wargaming. The developers are literally experimenting with everything under the sun to try to get that ship line to come out okay. And I don't know how successful they've been, but it looks like they're not having the world's best success there. They've gone from super heal, which I think it still has, to like defensive AA, and they had radar for a while there. Those things all seem to be gone right now. Just seems to be a kind of a mess, and it's indicative, I think, that there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And unfortunately, at the same time, I just don't think wargaming is going to change it. They seem very, very reluctant to make those more complex changes to the game. Maybe it's just because it requires too much manpower. Maybe it's too much money that they have to reinvest into their game, and now that they're just happy making what money that they want to make, and they're just trying to milk it for all it's worth before moving on to another project. Who knows? Maybe this is just their way of funding, World of Tanks 2 or something like that. Like they need that. I don't know. Who knows? But it's definitely a little bit on the concerning end. But anyways, I mean, we'll have to see how things develop. Like I said, I'm gonna take probably a few more days for myself to take care of my mental well-being, and at the same time, spend some more time with a girlfriend who, yeah, I mean, I actually feel bad. I legitimately feel bad for not spending time with her. And the fact that she's been tolerant of me not spending that much time with her is amazing. She's just, she's been very, very patient, but I don't want to get to the point where the relationship will fracture and break just because, all I ever do is not care about her and, not spend time with her, and just, so gonna definitely spend a bit more time taking care of real life stuff for, and then probably get back into the swing of things. Although do keep in mind that probably right around the end of August, there will probably be a while there where there won't be any content at all. That's just because I will be moving again, and actually we're going to be doing 2 moves at the same time, because she's moving off to a different city for like 8 months, and I will be moving to like downsize to like a basement apartment. And so 2 moves then, and it will be a bit chaotic, but hopefully things will be fine afterwards, and we will be back up and producing stuff, and we'll find out how that actually goes. Again, I will be sharing that basement. Well, I mean, I'll have my own room, but I'll be sharing the common areas with other people, so we'll have to see how that goes, right? I mean, I've always been able to find sort of my own quiet space to do like recordings and stuff, and I'm not sure how that's gonna work with a whole bunch of other people. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do it when they're all at work or something. Who knows? Could be a solution. All right, and 2 other things I kind of want to talk about. One of them is actually, not sure if how many of you noticed this, but and maybe it hasn't made it into the normal ships yet. Maybe it has. I don't know. But if you look at the destroyers in the Dunkirk mission, like this Anthony, for example, if you fire the torpedoes, they actually launch the rearmost one first. So this is a reverse from what it used to be. It used to go, the first one, first tube going out first. Now it's like the rearmost tube first. And for those of you who don't know where this change came from and why all of a sudden it changed, really recommend you watch that like behind the scenes Naval Legends video. When they went onto HMCS Haida, they actually found out that in real life, destroyers fire the torpedoes from the rearmost tube first, so that as the destroyer moved forward, her other torpedoes didn't hit the one that was launched first. If you launched the forwardmost torpedo as your ship moved forward, the next one that you launch could potentially hit that first torpedo that you launched. So it's yeah, an interesting little change that they made, and now much more historically accurate, if you actually care about that. One other small thing, Wargaming and the Graf Zeppelin, oh boy, they obviously weren't a huge fan of the 230 thing, which, by the way, I thought was kind of silly, way too much striking power. But now they seem to have gone into a 203 configuration. No idea why. Dive bombers are just terrible. Terrible implementation, just terrible gameplay thing altogether. I mean, it's totally RNGesus. Not really fun for the receiving end, not really fun for the CV player who has to do it, because who likes, everything to be dictated by RNG? It's just yuck. Anyways, folks, that does it for me today. It's super late, and I do actually want to go catch some sleep as well. So, sorry for the lack of videos, but hang in there. We'll be back to our regular production schedules not too long from now. Until then, take care. I'll talk to all of you again soon.